right, looks like we're live. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Perhaps the eve of a snow day here in Landrum, South Carolina. I know that's why they moved this game up. It was slated for 5:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. for the girls and boys games, respectively. On Friday, they moved it up to today because there are a few concerns regarding snow. Personally, I really don't think we're going to get much, but it was enough for Spartanburg School District 1 to kind of pull the trigger on moving some things around, rescheduling some games. I know my mom is a teacher. She said their principal over at New Prospect Elementary has had them go ahead and get e-learning plans ready in advance for tomorrow. Most generous estimation I've seen is 1 to 3 inches of snow, but hey, that is a lot more than we got last year, I can tell you that much. So, and really and truly, I mean, I'm excited for the snow, sure, but I'm also really excited for these matchups here today because of what happened on Tuesday it was Monday, excuse me, when these two schools had their JV teams meet up. Blacksburg got, absolutely crushed by Landrum. They were between the boys and the girls games. They play 4 6-minute quarters in both games. Blacksburg had both of their teams on the court for a total of 48 minutes. Their JV teams, both the boys and the girls, in 48 minutes, scored a combined 13 points. Landrum, I don't quite recall their score, but I believe they hit 100 even. Girls scored 40 and the boys scored 60, something like that. It was a beatdown in every sense of the word. And I know when you see this sort of thing happen on TV, like, you'll say, oh, maybe the Eagles beat the Cowboys early in the year, pretty bad, and then they go into week 15 or 16, and they'll ask whoever the Cowboys coach is at the time during the press release, oh, are your players thinking about that last loss? Are they going to try to look at this as a revenge game? And they always stay professional, and they say, no, we're just going to look at it like any other game, any other opponent. No, I've been around, especially in my arena days, when a team gets blown out, especially like what happened to Blacksburg on Monday, they don't forget. They remember. Their coaches might say they're not thinking about it too much, but when they go into that next game, they are just motivated beyond belief. It is a revenge game. That is a very real term, and I think we're really going to see it on display here tonight. This should be a great pair of matchups, really. I know the girls' game in particular is the one I'm looking at. Landrum is coming in at 3-8. They have not had the season they were imagining, but they've got 2 pretty pivotal promotions from the JV roster that should be able to help them out a lot. Those being Savannah Brown, the center from the JV team, who has absolutely taken over games for that roster early in the year, and then Kaylee Cortez had some issues in the middle of the season. Not sure if those were COVID, injury, personal, we're not sure, but there were about 2 weeks that she missed there, and there was a very considerable difference in performance when she was not on the court as opposed to when she was on it, because she goes for the steal, she goes for it early, she goes for it often, and what baffles me is that I'd say about 70 to 80% of the time she actually comes up with it. So defensively, that could be a really big plus for this Landrum roster moving forward, and I imagine they're really going to need it against a Blacksburg team that is coming in here at 5-1 on the season, and I believe their lone loss, it was not by much. This is a team that was reasonably close to being undefeated through 6 games. And so, we'll see. Are Landrum's new roster additions going to be enough to push them over the edge and give Blacksburg a run for their money? Are they going for the sweep? Because Blacksburg's coming in here looking to kind of settle the score after what happened earlier this week. Is Landrum looking at it as a sort of faux rivalry game? That can cause issues when one team comes into the game more motivated than the other because of some bad blood. Got a lot remaining to be seen. The JROTC is already off to the right. We've got 2:40 left on the clock, so I will stop talking for a moment and turn things over to Hambone for team introductions. Yeah, try and get the girls centered up, because I think the ROTC is going to come into frame. Yeah, that's fine. A little more to the left. A little more. No, that's too far. It's fine where it is. Yeah. And the ROTC is getting ready, right on the line, just on the edge of your frame, right underneath the right-hand basket, actually. Looks like they'll be presenting the colors here in a moment.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you to this evening's basketball game between the Lady Wildcats of Blacksburg and your Lady Cardinals. At this time, would you please stand for our national anthem? The flag we present this evening by the Landrum Junior ROTC Coast Guard, and we thank them for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
All right, and we are just a few moments removed from tip-off here between the Cardinals and the Wildcats. Again, should be a really interesting game. All right, starting lineups are as follows. Michaela Logan for Blacksburg. Number 1, Katie Tate. Number 14, Ataya Tate. Number 20, Essence Cavames. And number 22, Jennifer Martin. Over on the Landrum bench, starting lineups look like they're going to include I see Savannah Brown suited up, and we've got number 11, Varsity Upton, number 10. I do not think I got the right roster. All right, so Mulaney Hines, Kara Knight, Varsity Upton, yep, so that was what threw me off there. I'll get to that in a moment. Molly Ellinger, and yep. So how about that for a promotion for Savannah Brown? Went from JV starter earlier in this year to tipping off against 5-1 Blacksburg at a varsity game against Jennifer Martin, and wins got the better of it, but it's brought in by Blacksburg. So we'll start things off with the Wildcats in control, looking to find an open player right now. Looks like they're kind of just feeling everything out for the moment. And now straight for the three-pointer, almost sank it. That was number 20, Essence Cavames, and Landrum had it for a second, turns it over. Michaela Logan looking around. And everyone's still in motion right now. A lot of movement from these Wildcats so far, and that shot blocked by Landrum, and then taken right back away, and another turnover forced by Savannah Brown. So 2 blocked shots in a row. I believe Kara Knight got the first of those blocks. And now Savannah Brown flips it over to Hines. Hines tried to go inside, got tripped up, and we'll see if they call out a shooting foul against Blacksburg, and it looks like they are. So Melanie Hines headed to the line with a chance to notch the first points of the game for either team. And no, now they take it back. It's just a standard foul going against Landrum, or going against Blacksburg, in favor of Landrum, I should say. And Ellinger checks it in right to the middle with Brown. Now back outside to Ellinger. And Ellinger well off the mark, brought back in by Blacksburg. And Knight almost had a turnover there as well. Could not reel it in. Both teams kind of look to be pacing themselves right now. And now Cavames for the long three. This one off as well, rebounded by Savannah Brown, the freshman making an impact early. 6:40 left to go in the first period. Hines trying to spin out of trouble and gives it up. Taken away by number 0. And Michaela Logan notches the first points of the game in favor of the Wildcats. And now heaving it down the court for Hines, inside to number 11. Now back out to Hines. Hines for 3. This one off the mark and headed out of bounds. Varsity Upton with the first shot from underneath the rim. And Logan taking it down the court now for Blacksburg. Up 2-0 with 6 minutes to play in the first period. Catching a block and now driving inside is Tate. Tate sends it up and sinks it. 2-possession lead for Blacksburg. And now Brown looking around, gets it over to Knight. Knight trying to get out of trouble, just slinging it, and I think they are going to call that Landrum ball. Yep, looked like Logan was the last one to tip that out of bounds. Ellinger to check in. And Ellinger sends it straight up over for Hines. Hines going inside and off the inside of the rim. It was in there for a moment, and great job by Hines to try and get it back. Got a jump ball, and they're going to rule this in favor of Landrum. Possession arrow will go back over to Blacksburg. Something to keep an eye on moving forward. 5:35 left to go in the first period. Brown hands it off to Knight. Knight gets it over to, that is Upton, and now going to drive inside is Ellinger. Ellinger off the mark, rebounded by Blacksburg. Landrum having some major difficulty shooting so far. Logan motioning some players around, gets it over to Cavames. And now back to Logan, catching a block from Cavames. Logan goes for three. What a shot from Michaela Logan. Oh, my backspace key is not working too well. That's 7 on the board for Blacksburg, not 47. And Blacksburg, oh, it looked like Logan did a good job of keeping that one out of bounds. They do rule that she stepped out there. And timeout taken by the Lady Cardinals with 4:52 left to go in the first period. Landrum down 3 possessions, got to find a way to get back in it. So, interesting tidbit to this point. I know it's only been 3 minutes and 8 seconds, but we have not seen any substitutions from either side. Usually, Chapman is the one that likes to substitute the most, so I might be getting them mixed up. And Landrum, no stranger to substitutions either. Only 10 players on the roster, though, for the Lady Cardinals, so that might be factoring into it. And this one effectively picked off by Blacksburg and then taken right back in, and Melanie Hines got caught between 2 defenders and tripped. Let's see which way they rule this, and they're going to call a foul against Blacksburg, so it'll be Cardinal ball. Ellinger to check in to Kara Knight. Molly Ellinger looking for an open teammate, gets it over to Hines, and Hines has that shot blocked. Great defensive play there from Michaela Logan. 4:20 to play in the first period. Blacksburg going right for that three-pointer, and they've got it. And that was Danica Henderson. Looks like she might have been the first substitution for either side. Blacksburg up 10-0. Landrum still in search of their first points of the game. And this one's going to go, I think we got timeout taken by Landrum. Yeah, Kara Knight was under some duress there. They had to call time to get her out of it. 4:05 to go in the first period. Still nothing on the board for Landrum, but they do rule that last shot from Blacksburg a 2-pointer instead of a 3. So that will cut it down from a 4-possession game to a 3-possession game, but still a big 3 possessions at that. Again, Landrum still sticking with that starting lineup. So far, this is looking like a complete script reversal from what we saw on Monday between the JV teams, in which Landrum dominated from the get-go. Molly Ellinger looking to change that. Ill-advised shot, but brought back in by Savannah Brown, and Brown sinks it. So Landrum gets on the board 4 minutes into the first period. Down 9-2, but putting a stop to Blacksburg's unanswered run. And now Logan motioning some troops around. This is Henderson again. Henderson looking, driving, flips it over to Cavames, and Cavames was not ready for it at all. Taken away by Landrum. Savannah Brown headed down the court, flipping it over to Hines. Hines driving inside, and I don't know where that was going. Her hand had to have gotten hit on that shot. And yeah, they're going to call that a shooting foul against Blacksburg. So that explains it. Sent it right into that poster of Noah Weiss. The senior Melanie Hines to draw Landrum within 2 possessions. The shot off the mark. And Essence Cavames checks out of the game for Blacksburg. She's replaced by Tate. Tate. And shot number 2 from Melanie Hines is good, so still down to a 2-possession game, 9-3. 3.5 minutes to play in the first period. Blacksburg sends out and out of bounds. Hines putting some defensive pressure there, it looked like, on Tate. And that was enough to kind of box her out and put her into the paint. Molly Ellinger to check in. Got to find a way to shake that defender. Goes right inside, and they're not going to call any fouls. They'll rule that in favor of Blacksburg. Yeah, so far, Landrum just has not been putting a lot of velocity behind those shots. I don't know if that's a coaching decision or just an interesting coincidence, but so far, just about everything they've put up has been short of the basket. So definitely with consistent errors like that, you'd always prefer consistent ones to inconsistent ones because there's a path for them to be fixed. And now Tate flips it over to number 14. That's got 2 Tates, Tatey Tate and Atia Tate for Blacksburg, number 1 and number 14 respectively. This is, however, Michaela Logan. And Blacksburg with an interesting offensive strategy. I don't know if it's intentional, but so far they've taken things very slow, especially outside of the 3-point line. When they've gotten inside, they've kind of sped things up, but for the most part, they've been slow. Oh man, and they're going to call that in favor of Blacksburg. Charging foul against Melanie Hines, even though Hines is the one that fell over there. 2:45 to play in the first. Blacksburg up by 8. And here we go again. This is what I was mentioning just a moment ago, and now they're kind of speeding things up. Oh, that shot blocked, but then brought back in and successful from Jennifer Martin. Blacksburg takes a 10-point lead, their biggest of the game. And I think you can tell Landrum's kind of feeling the pressure of that tempo and going a little too fast for their own good there. Jump ball, but this one's going to go in favor of Blacksburg anyway. And now the first substitution of the game for Landrum, at least coming up, and yeah, there's the buzzer. So number 12, that's going to be Anna Cooper checking into the game in relief of Savannah Brown. Yeah, 2:10 to play in the first period. That is right about when the quarter would end in a JV game, so that could be factoring into the decision there. I'm not entirely sure if JV and varsity condition together. I know they don't practice together. That could be something to look at moving forward. Just how much gas Savannah Brown has in the tank and whether or not she's on any kind of pitch count, so to speak. And now Hines for the long 3, off the mark. And the woes continue for Landrum. And it looks like they're going to rule this one. Still waiting for a signal. Molly Ellinger at least thinks she's going to check it in for Landrum, and this one is going to be Landrum ball, but they got to figure out this shooting conundrum because they have not been able to hit the side of a barn so far. 90 seconds to play in the first. Again, Blacksburg kind of milking that clock. And now flipping it back to the outside, and now inside. That shot pass partially blocked by Hines. Logan going inside, sinks it, and we got a whistle as she was shooting. Waiting on the signal from the official. And they call out a foul against Landrum. So the points are good, and now Cavames is going to have... Nope, thought they were going to give her a 3-point play, but they let Blacksburg keep the points, and that'll be that. 15-3, 80 seconds to play in the first. Tatey Tate looking around, sending it over to Cavames. Now Cavames driving inside, off-kilter shot, rebounded by Blacksburg, and number 14, Itia Tate, able to sink that one. Landrum down 14 with 60 seconds to play in the first period. Ellinger doing everything she can just to get across half court. Got an open player in Melanie Hines, and Hines finally notches some points for Landrum. 50 seconds to play in the first. And Cavames wide open, going inside, and off the mark, Jennifer Martin, and brought back in by Tatey Tate. So no harm, no foul in the block shot for Blacksburg. 19-5, closing in on the end of the first period. Ellinger looking for an open lane, can't find one. Reversing field and sends it out of bounds. Too tall for Kara Knight. It'll be Blacksburg ball right around half court with 28.5 seconds to play in period number 1. Hannah Sparks enters the game now for Blacksburg, number 30. And Blacksburg moving slowly, going inside. That pass is taken away and then taken right back away. And I think, did we get a timeout called by Blacksburg there, or are they going to say that's a turnover? They're going to rule it a turnover. 13.6 seconds left. Landrum's got the ball on their end of the court with an opportunity to make something happen. Substitution now for the Cardinals. Savannah Brown back in the game. Bray Upton has exited. Now Molly Ellinger trying to find an open teammate. 12 seconds to play. Blacksburg playing tight, now driving inside is number 10. That is Knight notching some more points for Landrum. Lead back down to 12 at the end of the first period. Clock expires, so at the conclusion of the first 8 minutes, Landrum with a 12-point deficit, but making a little bit of progress toward overcoming it. They seem to have gotten into something of a rhythm, though Blacksburg certainly has as well. Should be an interesting second period moving forward. So far in a couple of these high-scoring games that have really gone blow for blow, especially in the second half, the second period, for the most part, is where it's been decided. If one team can get on a roll and score 10 to 15 unanswered, that has usually decided the game once halftime adjustments are made and both sides kind of figure out what the other is doing. So really a pivotal 8 minutes coming up here. Landrum got to find some momentum, and Blacksburg got to find a way to keep this lead moving forward and into the second half. Next 8 minutes coming up in a few moments. All right, so to begin the second period, Molly Ellinger to check in for the Cardinals. And everybody covered up, now sending it inside to Hines, and Hines having to do everything she can just to get it back, and they're going to call out a jump ball. The possession arrow is actually out right now. Both sides say they have it, and they're going to rule this one in favor of Blacksburg. Maybe, yes. Blacksburg ball. And they send that one right out of bounds. Just an airmailed pass from Itea Tate. So Landrum will get it right back. Five seconds come off the clock in those exchanges. Again, no major substitutions for Landrum. Been kind of surprised by that. And that one just taken right away by Blacksburg. That was number 12, Anna Cooper, just completely lost her handle on it, and yeah, that is definitely intentional. I was wondering at first, like, you know, okay, are they just kind of taking their time outside, waiting for things to open up, or are they really consciously making an effort to slow things down? And you can tell just coming down the court, going from a hard run to a jog to an almost complete stop. That's the game plan here tonight. And because of quick scoring ability like that, this Landrum offense has shown flashes throughout the season to be able to put up points in a hurry. Chapman has as well. Both District 1 schools really offensively have had good seasons. And this one off the mark, rebounded, and then rebounded again by Landrum. 21-9. Kara Knight looking for a window, almost has that one stolen away. It'll go out of bounds, and they're going to rule it in favor of Blacksburg. So that has really been one of the main stories so far as well. The shooting, a major issue for Landrum, but the separation on offense has really been the root problem here. Blacksburg definitely has, I would say, a slight size advantage. Hard to gauge whether or not they have any sort of advantage speed-wise because of this right here. They've been taking it so slow once they get on their end of the court, but offensively, Landrum has really struggled to get any sort of separation. And now just going to sling it down the court for Hines. Hines looking for three, overshoots it, and brought back in by Hines, has that one blocked, and then sends it out of bounds. And that's going to be Blacksburg ball. And nope, they're actually going to say somebody touched that on the way out. So now, finally got a substitution for Landrum. Kaylee Cortez entering the game. Only the second major substitution so far. 3 of the starters still in the lineup and have not exited. That shot off the mark from Hines. 6:15 to play in the second period. Halftime looming, especially with the clock being milked like this. Again, Blacksburg 5-1 coming into this game. Landrum 3-9. Oh, and what a three-point shot from Michaela Logan. And I think Blacksburg actually called that timeout. Up by 15 with 6:07 to play in the second period. Back in a moment. All right, and we are just waiting on the ready for play now. There it is. Ellinger just going to airmail it down the court, and Brown had it for a second. I don't know how Landrum hung on to that one. And now Kaylee Cortez sending it up, rebounded by Hines. And Hines, again, I think the pressure of this lead is starting to build on Landrum because now the separation has been an issue, and especially there, Hines really had to shoot it from an odd angle, just kind of took a side step to her left, didn't take time to set her feet, just slung it up at the goal and got pretty close, and this one actually headed back across half court. Kaylee Cortez working on trying to get that one out of bounds, and they're going to say carrying, I believe. I forgot my foul sheet today. I usually have one with me that has all the calls listed. Left it behind today, and now Savannah Brown sends it, off the mark. Again, 2 straight shots where the Cardinals have just not been able to set their feet. 5:34 left to go. No points for either side since that timeout. And now going inside is Tate, and Tate got fouled. And looks like we've got 2 substitutions at the ready for Blacksburg. Looks like Essence Kavmes is going to get ready to check in alongside. Can't get a number there. And there's one substitution. Caitlin Littlejohn exits the game. She's replaced by Kavmes. And still can't get a number on that player. She's kind of camouflaged on camera. And second shot good, first shot no good from number 14, Atia Tate. And the unknown player looks like it was Misha Tate. I don't know if there's any relation between those 3. And Melanie Hines doing a balancing act along the sideline and now in trouble and loses her handle of the ball trying to drive inside. Blacksburg checks this one in. Under 5 minutes to play in the first period. Kavmes driving right inside, off the mark, and rebounded by Molly Ellinger. Ellinger struggling for separation, finds a little bit, now getting it inside to Savannah Brown. Brown looking over to Cortez. Cortez flips it out to Hines, and Hines gets called for traveling. 4:40 to play in the second period now. Molly Ellinger exits the game for Landrum. She's replaced by number 15. That's McKenna Harris. And now trying to split two defenders is Logan. Ball's up for grabs and brought back in, or jump ball. Well, this one will go in favor of Landrum. McKenna Harris trying to get it back there and in a roundabout way managed to do so. She'll check this one in to Melanie Hines. And whistles blow. I think we got timeout called. And I actually heard too many players there. It looks like it's going against Blacksburg, though. I don't know if it's... Yeah, they're still talking this over with the coach. I don't know if it's 100% like it is in football, where too many players doesn't necessarily define actually having more players than you're allowed to have on the court so much as it does somebody's foot was slightly on the court when it shouldn't have been. But, yeah, they're still talking this one over, it looks like. Both sides kind of trying to make sense of it. Oh, they're going to call out a technical foul, actually. I keep on forgetting that. The T hand signal is a timeout in football. In basketball, it's a technical foul. So shot number one for Hines is good. Landrum's able to crack double digits with 4:21 left to play in the second period. Shot number two for Hines is this one good as well. And now everybody crossing back over half court. It'll be Landrum ball. Did not see what that foul was for. But a technical foul called there against Blacksburg, and Landrum turns it right over. Again, you can see that is just, this is full court press. I mean, played to perfection from Blacksburg. Their defense deserves all the credit in the world because, I mean, that's what the defensive scheme is based upon, is making sure the offense can't get separation. And so far, I mean, they've executed it to absolute perfection. Landrum has not had any breathing room whatsoever. Going inside in that pass from Brown, too tall for Kaylee Cortez. Heads out of bounds and will be checked in by number 10, looks like, for Blacksburg, Annabella Foster. And Cavames flips it outside. Tate has all day to set up for the three-pointer and can't reel it in. Brought back in and then shot, rebounded by Landrum. Harris able to flip it over to number 12. And now Hines sets up for three. Got it! Leads back down to 11. That's the lowest it's been in a while. 3:17 to play in the second period. Halftime looming. Blacksburg trying to make up some ground that Landrum was made of, and they send it out of bounds. So Landrum with a chance to cut the lead down to single digits. Even a two-pointer here would cut it down to a three-possession game. Far and above the lowest it's been since early in the third period if they're able to score on this possession. Harris checks it into Hines. And taken right away by Blacksburg. That's Itea Tate. Tate driving inside off the mark. And Landrum had it for a second, bounces it right back into the hands of Tate. And now flipping it over to Logan. Logan for the long three. Somehow makes it. What a shot from Michaela Logan. And now Kaylee Cortez. And air mails it straight up. I think that one got partially blocked. Had to be for it to be that off kilter, and Logan tries to sink the easy two, can't get it. So clock continues to run, and Landrum turns it over again, and Blacksburg still can't capitalize. Harris in trouble, gets it over to Kaylee Cortez. Cortez gonna try to do it herself, going inside, and gets called for traveling. Shot was off the mark anyway, came in a little too hot and couldn't slow down fast enough. 2:17 left in the game. Taylor Kelly getting ready to sub in for the Cardinals. She's going to replace, looks like, Kaylee Cortez exiting the game now for Landrum. Substitutions on Blacksburg's side as well. Annabella Foster exits the game. She's replaced by Addie Oglesby, number 25 for the Wildcats. Logan flips it over to Henderson. Henderson looking around, wanted to go over to Tate and got whistles. They'll go right back to Blacksburg. We'll just have to check this one in. Itea Tate looking for an opening. Gets it over to Henderson, and Henderson has that one taken away. No, they're going to call it for traveling. So 2:01 left to play in the half. Landrum gets it back. McKenna Harris going to check this one in, but Landrum's got to find a way to get this thing down the court. And Savannah Brown driving, going for the goal, and overshoots it, rebounded by Blacksburg. And Hines falls over, no whistles. Oglesby was not ready for the pass, though. Brown looking, going inside, and gets fouled. Chance for a three-point play coming up for Landrum. 1:48 to play in the first half. This to get the lead back down to 11. More substitutions now for Landrum. Anna Cooper exits the game. She's replaced by Veray Upton. And Danica Henderson exits for Blacksburg. She's replaced by Essence Cavames. And Brown's shot is good. She's been very accurate from the free throw line so far this season, and an underhand pass inbounds from Blacksburg. This is Itea Tate taking it down the court, flips it over to the other Tate. That's Tatey Tate going inside, and traveling called against Jennifer Martin. 28-17, Blacksburg up by 11. Landrum can get it to a three-possession game if they're able to score here, but again, able to score, the key phrase. This defense has been absolutely suffocating Landrum offensively. Difficult to find openings just to check it in with. They're going to send it over to Hines, and that one goes out of bounds. They're going to rule this, and nobody seems to want to check this one in. Everybody headed back down the court, and they're going to give it to Landrum on that side. No. Oh, so that was a foul called against Blacksburg, and it puts Landrum in the bonus. That is the seventh of the game for the Wildcats. So Hines made two free throws earlier and misses this one. Rebounded by Savannah Brown, so Landrum's got a chance. Up, Veray Upton sinks that one. Down to a three-possession game. The lowest the lead has been for Blacksburg in quite a while. Still 9 points, though. Landrum going for the turnover as well. 75 seconds to play in the first half. Tate driving inside, and whistles blow before the shot. And that Blacksburg bench is clapping. I think they're going to call this a chance for a three-point play. And no. Just a standard foul here. Blacksburg will retain possession, though. And they flip it right out to Cavames, and Cavames off the mark, rebounded by Logan. And Logan flips it back to Cavames, and Blacksburg is going to slow things down. A minute flat now to play in the second period. Landrum looking for some kind of turnover, be it a rebound or a batted pass, something. And Brown mistimed that one, swatted at it, but a little too early. Nice delay from Cavames, able to put Blacksburg over 30 on that one. Lead goes back out to 11, and Landrum turns it over again. And it looks like we've got a foul called against Taylor Kelly there. Doesn't really affect anything with 40 seconds to play in the first half. Landrum has 5 fouls. I don't think the bonus is going to be a factor on Blacksburg's end for a little while, especially if they continue this pace. And a long three-point shot. Had the accuracy, it's a little too far to the left from Michaela Logan. So Landrum going to get a chance to go down the court probably one last time. McKenna Harris across half court, sending it inside for Brown. Too tall for Brown, but brought in by Upton, and Upton sinks it. 30-21. 17 seconds left to play, and that one almost taken away by Taylor Kelly. Instead, Cavamess going to go for three off the mark, rebounded by Melanie Hines. 7 seconds left. Hines almost lost her balance, sends it up for Brown. Brown just going to have to go for three. Time expires. So defensively, Landrum ending that half on a high note. Maybe with some momentum, certainly something to build upon at halftime. 10 minutes on the clock now. Blacksburg up 30-21. Has been an interesting game so far, and like I said, a lot of times in these games, the second period has been the deciding factor. One team builds a big lead in the second period, and then they just go blow for blow in all of the second half, and that lead ends up being the deciding factor. But Landrum able to actually cut into that lead just a little bit, and then, I mean, they were really pace for pace with them for those last 4 minutes. It was certainly an exciting last 4 minutes of basketball, and it should be a very exciting second half to boot. 30-21, Blacksburg up by 9, back in 9.5 minutes. Oh, sorry about that. All right, so a few things to clear the air about. I apologize for that late start on my end. I had to finish up my little halftime snack. You get hungry up in the booth. You easily get hungry up in the booth, and we've got confirmation on that technical foul earlier. Blacksburg indeed had 6 players on the court. Again, I don't know if that was, 6 players actively participating in the game, or if they had 5 and then someone just stepped over the sideline by mistake. I don't know that we'll ever know that really, unless we ask one of the coaches. But so far, man, a lot of turnovers. Again, I knew separation was probably the key element for both sides in those locker room conversations at halftime. But so far, both teams are playing even better defensively than they were earlier. And of course, right as I say that, the commentators curse strikes, and Blacksburg is able to put some more points on the board. Lead goes back out to 11. And man, this defense just playing so aggressively for Blacksburg. I tell you what it looks like, of all things, it looks like the way the Landrum JV girls team plays defense. They go for steals all the time.
That's right. How do you do it when you're supposed to be doing it?
Absolute mayhem through that first minute. 60 seconds through the third period, already been quite an affair, and just another airmail pass, but now Brown right underneath the rim and sinks it. Again, Savannah Brown and Kaylee Cortez both. Brown number 35 and Cortez number 3, and Brown making an impact again. Both of them started on JV this year, both freshmen promoted to the varsity roster at some point after Christmas break. Good to see them not only really participating on the varsity in these varsity games, but really making an impact too. Savannah Brown in particular has really gotten a lot done so far, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is interesting because through JV she was mostly used as an offensive weapon inside the paint. And Molly Ellinger was fouled. First shot for is good. So the lead is down to 8. Shot number 2 is good as well. So a 7-point lead. I assume they took Blacksburg's points off the board a few moments ago. Did not catch any calls from the officials there. And now Blacksburg moving some people around. This is Michaela Logan. She's been their primary distributor, but she has been liable to go for just really long threes if she's feeling the moment. And now they're going to go inside, back outside to Logan. Logan going to drive inside the paint, flips it up, off the mark, and rebounded by Savannah Brown. And now us just slinging it across the court for Knight. And Knight heading inside, off the mark, and now inside to Brown, and that one rolls in. Savannah Brown. And now Savannah Brown going to have to block this shot and can't pull it off. Blacksburg able to respond quickly there. Back down to a 7-point game, excuse me. And now Brown driving inside, 34-27. And Brown got fouled there. So a chance now to draw within 5 points. Savannah Brown has been particularly solid from the line so far. Shot number 1 is good. Back down to a 2-possession game. 6-point lead for Blacksburg. Brown looking to make it 5. And this one is good as well. And now the Cardinals playing some press of their own. Both teams really seem even more apt to go for these steals than they were earlier. And this one off the mark, still in play. Oh, they're going to say that was Upton. He stepped out of bounds trying to reel that one in. So we definitely saw Blacksburg go for a lot of steals in that first half. They've somehow gotten even more aggressive here. And Landrum, they were playing a lot of press. Weren't necessarily going for steals. They're going for them now. And this one just a rebound. Ellinger trying to go coast to coast and off the mark. And now Essence Cavamas, with their own chance to go coast to coast, drives right in to Upton, and they're going to call out a foul against Cavamas. Upton was in the blocking position. Charging foul called against Blacksburg. So that'll be a turnover. 34-29. Landrum, they can get this to as low as a 2-point lead here. But first things first, they not only have to get it on their end of the court, they have to cross half court, and they're not going to do it here. Inside, Michaela Logan off the mark, rebounded by Logan, and now stepping back outside, and now driving inside, and she sinks that one. So a lot of running around there from Michaela Logan, but at the end of the day, she was able to sink it. Now Varay Upton trying to spin around, lost her handle on it, falls over, and they're going to say her hand touched out of bounds as she possessed the ball. So that goes right back to Blacksburg. And now Tate sends it over to Danica Henderson, and Henderson sinks the two-pointer. Blacksburg building back that lead they had early in the second period, up to a 9-point game now. And inside, missed pass, Hines gets it back in. Nice speed there from Melanie Hines to catch up to it, and then I think we got a foul called against, it's gonna go against number 11 of Blacksburg. That's Danica Henderson called for the foul, so Landrum will hang on to the ball. Molly Ellinger to check in with 4:15 left to play in the third. And now a long three-point shot from Knight. That one off the mark, rebounded by Brown, just took it right out of the hands of number 22 for Blacksburg. And her shot off the mark, brought in by the Wildcats. So back to a familiar position. The Wildcats kind of burning some clock here. Sending it back to Michaela Logan. And Logan looking for Tate. And now it's back to Tate. Tate driving, gets it over to Logan. Now Logan for the long three, and this one kept in play by Jennifer Martin. And then I think we got a foul called against Landrum. That or they sent it out of bounds. Didn't quite see. I was looking at the roster when they blew the whistle. And it's a shooting foul against Landrum. Danica Henderson at the line. This to put Blacksburg out to a 10-point lead. Off the mark. And one substitution each for either side. Hannah Sparks enters the game for Blacksburg. Kaylee Cortez in now for Landrum. And both shots from Danica Henderson off. And whistles blow as out and hits the ground. Not sure what it was about, but Landrum's going to get it. Molly Ellinger to check in, and again, look at this press. Everybody has their back turned to Ellinger, at least defensively. Now sending it, somehow Brown able to come down with that and then gets it taken away. Again, the speed starting to show here for Blacksburg. Inside to Henderson. Henderson shot rolls in. Blacksburg up over 40. It's an 11-point lead for the Wildcats. Ellinger in trouble, loses it. Taken in by Michaela Logan. She flips it over to Tate, and Tate sinks the layup. And we got a timeout taken by Landrum. They need a breather because just like that, it has gone from a 9-point lead to a 13-point lead. Landrum looking to regroup. All right, so we'll see what Landrum drew up there. 3:14 to play in the third. And now, interesting, Blacksburg backing off defensively, or at least they were for a moment. Now they're right back where they were. Ellinger flipping it over to Hines. Hines had a small window, sends it inside, and Upton lost her handle on it. We'll see who they call this for, and it looks like it's going to be Landrum ball. Ellinger to check in. 3:03 to play in the third now. Ellinger just looking for something. Gets it over to Hines. Separation still a major issue. Oh, and this one taken away by Blacksburg. Driving inside, and Ray Upton had to do everything she could not to make contact with Logan on the way down. Logan misses the shot, but we got whistles afterward. And really not sure what that was, but I think they're going to call that the 6th foul of the half against Blacksburg. Landrum's only had 1. So, still with about 3 minutes to go in this third period, Landrum already pretty close to getting into the bonus. And Cortez has that one taken away. There's a scuffle for the ball, jump ball, and it's going to go to Blacksburg.
Blacksburg basketball.
Tate checks it into Logan. And Logan flips it over to Henderson. Henderson goes inside to Martin, and Martin got fouled. No, they're going to call it for traveling. Scratch that. So Landrum's going to get the ball back. And that was actually Melanie Hines checking it in to Molly Ellinger. Ellinger has that pass block taken right away by Danica Henderson. And I think we got a shooting foul against Landrum. Yes, Danica Henderson headed to the line to stretch the lead out to 15 for Blacksburg. Anna Knight getting ready, or Kara Knight, excuse me. It's Anna Cooper. Kara Knight getting ready to sub in for the Cardinals. Danica Henderson's first shot from the line is good. She's 1 for 3 on the day now.
Second shot for Henderson.
2:25 to play in the third. Henderson's second shot is good. 2 for 4 on the game for Danica Henderson from the line. Hines slinging it down the court. Brought in by number 12, and off the mark, Anna Cooper had a shot at it. Now there's a scuffle, and it's brought in by Blacksburg. And Kaylee Cortez already going for the steal. You can tell that Blacksburg bench wanted a foul. They're not going to get it, and now they might get it. Cortez really wanted the steal that time. And it's going to be called a shooting foul against Landrum. Misha Tate at the line. And Tate's first shot rolls in. 16-point lead for the Lady Wildcats. .point lead for Blacksburg over Landrum. The Wildcats starting to pull away to the tune of a strong defensive performance. Shot is up from Melanie Hines and rolls out of the rim. Rebounded by Kaylee Cortez, now going for the long 2. And just an awkward shooting form from her there. That one off the mark, brought back in by Blacksburg. And the players migrating into the hall, I believe that is the Blacksburg boys team getting ready to suit up for warm-ups. Still got a lot to go in this one, though. 90 seconds to play in period number 3. It's going to be Cardinal ball on their side of the court. McKenna Harris to check in. And going inside, Hines trying to box some defenders out. Now looking to pass, gets it over to Cortez. Cortez almost has it taken away and gets called for travel. .75 seconds to play in the third. Michaela Logan taking her time. Sends it over to Danica Henderson. Henderson looking, gets it back to Logan. And Cortez gets the steal there. Hines sends it back to Cortez. Now Cortez, again, just not as fast as Logan. Logan able to box her out. And it's another turnover forced by this Wildcat defense. And not sure what the calls from the Landrum side are. I didn't see anything wrong with that, but their crowd got pretty livid at that as Logan was heading across half court. They're going to call a foul against Landrum. Danica Henderson headed to the line. They don't seem too upset about that. This, if she makes both of these, it'll stretch the lead out to, I've actually got Blacksburg at 47. They've been at 46. So it's a 17-point lead now. This will get them out to 19 if she's able to make both of these, but kind of, I think Harris might have been tying her shoe there. First shot for Henderson is good. She moves to 3 for 5 on free throws in this game. 49 seconds left to play in the third. Shot number 2 for Henderson is no good. And here comes her third shot. And now a pretty big substitution for the Wildcats. Looks like they might have taken a lot of the starters out of the game. I'll have to get a number on the player over on that Landrum logo, but if that's not Michaela Logan, which it is, so Michaela Logan, the only starter still in the game for Blacksburg. And conditioning may be starting to play a factor here too. 48-29 in favor of the Lady Wildcats. Misha Tate to check in, and now another starter back in the game for Blacksburg. This is Essence Cavames. And Cavames heading down the court, sends it inside to Oglesby. Oglesby overshoots it, and there's loose, brought in by Tate, or Cortez for a moment, and then Blacksburg gets a hold of it. And now going inside, that's Danica Henderson. That shot off the mark and heads out of bounds. It'll be Landrum ball with 19.7 seconds to play in the third period. Landrum down by 19. Got to find something to get a kind of a spark lit under him heading into this fourth period. And it's not going to happen on this play. Cavames making a beeline for the goal and had to shoot off kilter. Whistles were blown as she shot it, and I think we got a shooting foul going against Landrum. Indeed we do. So Essence Cavames will have a chance to get Blacksburg over 50 with this. Six fouls for Blacksburg, 5 for Landrum. Landrum's had 5 straight, or 4 straight, excuse me. Shot number 1 off the mark, but shot number 2 is good. Blacksburg's still in the 40s, but it's a 20-point lead. Landrum is going to have to almost double their scoring output just to get back into this one. And this one, Harris might have had a shot at that one, but the clock expires. So at the end of the third period, after really going blow for blow with them in the second period, Blacksburg finally able to get their lead back out to, or at least into more comfortable territory for them, I imagine. 49-29. Heading into the final 8 minutes. Landrum with some work to do in the final period. So to start the fourth period, Molly Ellinger is going to try to check this one in. And I say try because, I mean, you could see right there, Landrum was able to come down with it, but it was off of a batted ball. And the separation, I mean, has not been there at all for the Cardinals. They have struggled mightily just to find any sort of openings. But they'll catch a break here. 7th foul of the game called against Blacksburg. Or 7th foul this half, I should say. They had 7 in the first one. Didn't see if they called that a shooting foul or not. First shot for Kara Knight is good. Landrum cracks 30. She'll have another one coming up here. 7:52 left to play in the game. And this shot is good as well. So down to an 18-point lead. Landrum able to score on their first possession of the fourth period. And taken away by Anna Cooper, but Cooper lost her footing. Whistles blow, and I think they're going to say it is Blacksburg ball. Nope, they're going to call a foul there. So Cooper headed to the line for a bonus shot here. That is the 8th foul called against Blacksburg in this half. Double bonus looming with 7:45 to play in the fourth. Oglesby re-entering the game for the Wildcats. Cooper's shot off the mark. Rebounded by, that's Tatey Tate, had a very big game so far. And now McKenna Logan flips it over to Essence Cavames. Cavames falls over and sends it out of bounds. But I think McKenna Harris touched it on the way out, so it's going to be Blacksburg ball. Tate flips it over to, that is the other Tate, Itea Tate. And now Logan for the long three. She sank a couple of those earlier, can't connect on this one. Rebound shot for Blacksburg, no good either. And just, Kara Knight was not ready for that pass. It's another turnover now with a second chance. This one off the mark as well, rebounded by Anna Cooper. Cooper flips it over to Knight. Knight gets to Cortez. Cortez falls, and the ball scoots out from underneath her, brought in by Blacksburg. And that shot, I think Landrum was at least able to get a hand in the face there of Logan. That was enough to force the bad shot. Knight gets it over to Cooper, so Landrum across half court again. Harris goes up, no shooting foul called, off the mark, rebounded by Itea Tate, and Tate really navigating some defenders, gets it all the way back down the court to Michaela Logan, and Cortez going for the steal already, can't get it. 6:15 left to play in the fourth. And Logan sends it up, and that one's going to head out of bounds. Landrum ball. And Ellinger just going to sling it down the court for Anna Cooper and rolls out of bounds. They're going to call it Landrum ball. And this one goes up for Kara Knight. Knight driving inside, off the mark, rebounded by Blacksburg. We got a foul, I think, against Landrum right there. McKenna Harris was draped all over Cavames when she was reeling that one in. So that'll be Landrum's 6th foul. Blacksburg ball on Landrum's end of the court. And Tate checks it in, now back over and moving down the court quickly over to Michaela Logan. Logan tries to make some players miss and boxes everyone out enough to get it over to Tate on the side, and Tate overshoots it. Whistles blow during the rebound. Didn't see what that was. Timeout called by the Lady Wildcats. So no scores for either side in a while. Still 49-31. I think it's been there since Landrum took some foul shots a good while ago. Both defenses really stepping up. Back in a moment. All right, so out of that timeout, 5:45 to play in the game. Blacksburg well in control of this one. Though, interestingly, they seem to be moving faster than they were in the first half. Again, that might be part of the revenge game atmosphere factoring into this one. For those of you that weren't able to tune in Monday, Landrum played Blacksburg in a JV matchup earlier this week, and the girls team got the worst of it. They were beaten 40-4. The Blacksburg, through 24 minutes of basketball, was able to put up 4 points. And on the girls' side anyway, their boys' team was able to double that, or a little more than double it, I should say. They scored 9 points through 24 minutes. So again, I think that is really factoring into things here for Blacksburg. They are trying to pour it on here. And one other thing to note, I believe that while the JV teams were at Landrum on Monday, I think both varsity squads were at Blacksburg. I saw where Blacksburg beat the Landrum girls team, at least varsity, earlier this week as well. Foul called against Blacksburg. That's going to be their 10th. So Landrum in the double bonus now. 2 shots coming up for McKenna Harris. 5:02 left to play in the game. And some more substitutions now for Blacksburg. Both teams still with several starters in the game, though. And shot number 2 for Harris is good, down to a 17-point lead. Again, first points we've seen in a while for either side. And Landrum goes for the takeaway. Not going to get it there. Going up is number 10. That is... Pardon me, that's Annabella Foster, number 10, and Landrum called for a shooting foul. 2 shots coming up for Foster. 4:57 to play in the 4th period. Shot number 1 for Foster rolls off. Tatai Tate. So Tate back in the game now for Blacksburg. Second shot is good, so the Wildcats crack 50. 18-point lead for Blacksburg. And now Knight just going to airmail it down the court for Cooper. This one's still in play, and McKenna Harris goes up and gets it. And Blacksburg, loose ball brought back in by Landrum. Don't go anywhere yet. Ellinger, oh, no, taken right back away by Tate. Inside now, and it's going to be a charge or a block charge called against Michaela Logan. So that will be 2 points for Landrum. It should be, or 2 foul shots for Landrum. They're in the double bonus now. That's Blacksburg's 11th foul of the half, and I think that's what they're trying to sort out now. And instead, Landrum's going to check it in. Ellinger slings it down the court for Cooper. That's been the only way they've been able to get open for the most part. And Cooper got fouled as she shot that one, so now Landrum's going to have 2 free throws. 16-point game, this one to get it within 14. Or these shots, I should say. First shot for Cooper is good. 15-point game. Landrum up to 35 now. And Essence Kavamas re-enters the game for Blacksburg in relief of Danica Henderson. And both shots good for Anna Cooper. 14-point game. Landrum starting to come alive a little bit, but is it too late? We'll find out. This shot, man, right on the money from Essence Kavames. That was a good one, and it really takes the wind out of the sails this Landrum offense, too. And, man, Cooper had that one knocked right out of her hand, but I think they're going to, foul again. I don't even know that the scoreboard's keeping up with them. I've got 12 fouls going against Blacksburg now. Cooper made her first 2 shots. 3 for 3. 37 on the board for the Lady Cardinals. Now. 15-point lead for Blacksburg. Tate slinging it down the court and almost taken away. Logan gets it back, flips it over to Tate. And now Logan going to take some time to examine the defense. Sends it over to Cavames. Cavames back to Logan. Logan moving around. Gets it over to Tate. Back to Logan. Logan driving inside, now gets it back outside, and it's stolen away. Kaylee Cortez has it, but again, the speed of Logan. Oh, and what a step back. And Cortez misses, but it's rebounded by Cooper. Anna Cooper with the hot hand. I believe that makes 6 straight points for Anna Cooper. A double dribble called against Blacksburg. 3:22 to play in the game now. And Blacksburg starting to sub in more and more of their starters. I think early in the 4th period they were kind of phasing everyone out thinking this one was over, but Landrum storming back right here at the end and somehow able to hang on to that one. And that shot blocked, but I think Martin sent it out of bounds. Indeed she did, so it'll still be Landrum ball. Molly Ellinger going to check this one in. Anna Cooper, probably her #1 target here. Getting Cooper with 6 points in the last couple of minutes. And this one goes right off the hand of Martin, so Landrum will get it back again. 3:09 to play. Landrum, they've got a lot of ground to make up. It's a 5-possession game, but it's not impossible. And we've got whistles now. Third time's the charm for Landrum. We'll see. Inside, that's Kara Knight, and Knight got fouled. .308 to play now. Anna Knight at the line to draw Landrum within 11. And this shot good. 53-41 now. And looks like it's going to stay 53-41. And there was a violation on that shot anyway. It'll go back to Blacksburg. 12-point lead for the Lady Wildcats. Landrum in total steal mode right now. Gotta force some turnovers, and I think they're going to call out a foul. Yep, going against. I think they called that against McKenna Harris. So, yeah, Blacksburg in the bonus now as well. Michaela Logan headed to the line to get the lead back out to 13. And this shot right on target. Shot number 2 coming up for Logan. This one is good as well. Under 3 minutes to go, and Blacksburg steals it away again. Kaylee Cortez doing what she can to get it back, but again, she's been one-on-one with Logan all night, and for the most part, Logan has won those matchups. Got really not even so much as a size advantage, just a big speed advantage over Cortez, and that has been the deciding factor in a lot of these down-the-court battles between the two of them. Landrum able to knock some more points there. So 57-43. 14-point lead for the Lady Wildcats. And I think Landrum has gotten to the point where they're trying to foul him intentionally now. Though I don't know that they're fouling the right people. It's so far 2 straight fouls against Blacksburg's two best shooters, those being Michaela Logan and now Essence Cavames, who's had some excellent three-point shots so far. 2.5 minutes to play in the game. Comeback hopes for Landrum probably riding on this shot, and it is rebounded by the Lady Cardinals and turned over again. Logan has been absolutely plastered to Cortez in this second half, and it continues. Cortez had to foul her just to try and get the ball back for Landrum. They'll need to start going for threes, though. Neither team has really been inclined to make any attempts at them so far. Landrum in particular. I don't know that I honestly don't know that I've seen a three-point shot from them in this entire half. And Blacksburg hasn't had many more. A lot of substitutions on both sides. Savannah Brown and Melanie Hines in the game now for Landrum. Alongside number 5, Megan Kelly. And both shots were good for Essence Cavames. 16-point lead, and this pass too high for Brown and brought back in by Blacksburg. And Logan lost her handle on it, gets it back. Landrum wants a foul or a half-court violation, not going to get it. Cavames for 3, off the front of the rim, heading out of bounds, brought back in by Cavames. Now Tate for 3. Tate overshoots it, and it's brought in by Landrum for a moment. And it looks like we've got a foul. I believe that is Madison Atkins. Or scratch that, that's Ellen Ann Williams. 2:02 left to play in the fourth. Landrum down 6 possessions. This to get them back within 5. And Williams' first shot falls short of the basket. And this one off as well. We got another violation called against Landrum anyway. Blacksburg able to get it across half court. Cavames driving inside, flips it to Tate. Tate gets fouled as she shoots. 1:56 left to go, and I'll tell you what, the schedulers were on to something when they slated the boys' game to start at 7:30. I was wondering what that was about, because I came in here thinking, oh, you know, games only usually take an hour. They're putting too much time between games. No, this one is going to run pretty long. Landrum seems very content to keep fouling Blacksburg and a chance to crawl back into this one. 17-point lead now for the Lady Wildcats. We're going to make it 18. Got it. And Landrum quickly checks it in. Williams headed down the court, trying to take a step back and looking for a lane. Can't get one. It rolls in, and now a three-point play coming up. 147. Gotta hand it to the Lady Cardinals. They have not stopped fighting. Even in the face of some massive deficits, they have kept on going full throttle. And this shot is good. Three-point play successful by Williams. 147 now. And Blacksburg sends Cavames across half court. Cavames sends it over to Tate. That's Misha Tate, and Tate lost her handle on it, brought in by Hines, and Hines sends it out of bounds. And Oh, smart move by the Landrum bench. They actually called a timeout before Hines went out of bounds. She was kind of stumbling for a while. It looked like she was going to go out, so that was good recognition there by the coaches to call a timeout before she actually sent that one out of bounds. So Landrum will hang on to possession here. 1:36 to play in the fourth, 15-point game. If you want to look at it from a three-point perspective, it's a five-possession game. But again, I do not recall Landrum having attempted a single three-point shot in this entire half. I mean, the windows haven't been open. They haven't really been open inside either, but especially outside, Landrum has not had any room to operate. So realistically speaking, unless Landrum has a change of heart and decides to start going for these three-point shots, this is probably, I'd have to do the math, I think it's an 8-possession game. At best, yeah, 8 possessions. And back to 7. First points of the game for Kelly. And Blacksburg, that one does go out of bounds. There were whistles beforehand. We'll see who this one's against. And couldn't catch a number, but looks like 2 shots coming up for Blacksburg. Cavames was the one fouled there. So this to effectively nullify that shot by Kelly. First shot is good. 14-point lead. Yeah, it's 14. "81 seconds, and we got a violation. Williams and Tate both stepped forward. It looked like Tate stepped first, and they are going to call that one against Blacksburg. 81 seconds for Landrum to get something done. And Hines able to reel that one in, gets it back to Ellinger. Ellinger doing everything she can to get down court, and that one knocked out of bounds by Michaela Logan. 75 seconds now, Ellinger. Looking to get it to Brown, has that one blocked. No time comes off the clock. Ellinger gets this pass off and into the hands of Savannah Brown. Brown sinks the layup. And Landrum cracks 50. Back down to a 4-possession game, 6 if you want to assume that Landrum won't go for any three-pointers. But with 66 seconds left in the game, they're at least going to have to start thinking about taking some long shots. And that one, that could be the clincher right there. Ellinger almost able to take it away. Instead, Cavames gets fouled on the shot. 61 seconds left in the game. Upton re-enters the game for the Cardinals in relief of Molly Ellinger. And Cavames' first shot off the mark. Second shot is good. Back out to a 13-point lead for the Wildcats. Brown gets it back to Williams. Williams looking down the court, got a player. And Upton sends it off the underside of the goal. Or the underside of the backboard, I should say, but Landrum is able to get it back. 50 seconds to play. Williams trying to find an opening, sends it to some open space where it's taken away by Danica Henderson of Blacksburg. And now Michaela Logan driving inside and sinks it from the paint. 15-point lead for Blacksburg now. And Savannah Brown gets it over to Upton. Upton alone underneath the goal and sinks this one. Clock is running. 20 seconds to play, or 24 seconds. Stops at 23. It heads out of bounds. I think they're going to say this is Blacksburg ball. Nope, they'll rule it in favor of Landrum. So for Ray Upton to check this one in. did not lead Brown far enough down the court. Henderson able to knock that pass away. And they're going to say Brown touched it, so Blacksburg ball, and taken right away by Melanie Hines, who loses it and got fouls or whistles, something of the sort. 18.2 seconds to play now. Landrum down by 13. And it's going to be a foul against Blacksburg, so 2 shots coming up. Ray Upton to draw the Cardinals within 11. This will make it 12. And this one goes in, 12-point game, 65-53. And this one good as well. 65-54. Essence gets it in, or Essence Cavamess gets it over to, that was Henderson sinking the 2-point shot for Blacksburg's. Savannah Brown trying to box Henderson out and does so. And that will be the end of the game. Man, that was a defensive slugfest. Despite the score, there were a lot of turnovers, really no physical separation. Blacksburg had the separation on the scoreboard, but I mean, both sides were breathing down each other's necks on the court the whole time. No social distancing on display in that game. Press coverage for, I mean, all 4 periods and then some. Final score, 67-56. Blacksburg wins it by 11. They move to 6-1 on the year. Landrum drops to 3-9. Tip-off between the boys coming up, and they've got the clock set to 10 minutes, so a few minutes early, actually. Back around 7:15. Oh, and I've got an announcement to make. Despite they keep lowering the snow totals from what I've seen, but for parents who are not in the know yet, District 1 has officially canceled school for tomorrow. No 2-hour delay. They are canceling school due to ice concerns. I sent the whole thing, all 5 pictures. getting an early start to this one, or we're going to go through the starting lineups first. So we got a few moments before tip-off here, but this one an interesting game as well. I mentioned that the previous game was sort of a role reversal from the JV matchups that we saw earlier this week. This one, almost a role reversal of that match, at least going into it. Landrum enters the game 7-5 with, I mean, some really, really hard-fought losses. They have not gotten blown out very much this year. And in the meantime, the Blacksburg boys team enters at 0-6 on the season. Should be interesting to see how things shake out. Yeah, but it could just be the next game starting up.
Number 2, A.J. Ellis. Number 10, Ethan Ramsey. And forward, number 11, Alex Phillips. And center, number 14, will be Tanya Tate. The Wildcats are coached by Danny Ham, assisted by Ryan Stevens. And now you're starting to line up for your Landrum Cardinals! And guard 5'8" junior, number 24, Isaiah Washington. Save! And another guard 5'8", senior number 10, Patrick Clark. And guard 6'1", senior number 3, Cooper Gentry. And forward 6'1", freshman number 34, Frank Davis. And at center 6'4", junior, guarding in the middle, number 45, Ethan Duga. Cardinals are coached by Lynn Smith, assisted by Paul Schumann. Let's get ready. We're back in the game. Wildcats and the Cardinals coming up.
All right, so we have got, I mean, quite an interesting matchup here. Just looking at on court, Blacksburg looks like they have a pretty big size advantage over Landrum. Or at least it looked like that from the bench. Landrum seems to match up pretty well with them on the court. And now this is Franklin Davis, who also started the year on the JV roster. And Davis wins the tip-off here, but it will go to Blacksburg. And now directing some traffic. Landrum really pressing hard already. And now that is number 10, Ethan Ramsey, driving inside, who gets it to A.J. Ellis, and Ellis sinks it. First points of the game go to Blacksburg. Again, you gotta wonder if that JV matchup is kind of weighing on the minds of these players here. Do note, though, that Landrum beat Blacksburg earlier this week. Varsity. Let's see if I can pull up the margin on that one. Yep, they played on Tuesday. Blacksburg lost that game 70-51. Again, gotta be wondering if that's weighing on their minds as well. Long three from Ramsey is no good. There's a scuff for the rebound. It's still loose, and somehow Blacksburg comes down with it. A.J. Ellis for the long three. This one off as well. Ethan Dugat had a shot at it and can't bring it in. Ty Wilson with the ball now for the Wildcats. And Wilson flips it over to Kanye Tate. And now inside, Ramsey tried to get it over to Tate, and Tate does get it to Ellis. Ellis splits the defenders, flips it back. Man, a lot of passing here from Blacksburg so far. Now the long three from Tate off the mark. How long has this possession gone on for Blacksburg? And finally, they're able to knock some points. That felt like it took forever. 90 seconds into this one so far. Blacksburg up 4-0. Isaiah Washington. I really think Landrum has only had the ball for about 20 seconds collectively. Now Washington looking for an open man, going to get it over to Gentry, back to Washington, and now Washington goes for the long three and sinks it! He has been one of Landrum's best shooters all year, and the streak continues for Isaiah Washington, back to a 1-point lead for Blacksburg. Ethan Ramsey trying to make some men miss. Gets it over to number 11, and 11 shot off the mark. That is Alex Phillips sending it, or almost sending it out of bounds. It's brought back in by Blacksburg for a moment, but then Landrum gets it. Now over to Gentry, back to Washington. Washington for three again, and not as lucky this time, but Franklin Davis doing what he can to get it back, and still going. And now Gentry one-on-one with Ramsey, and Blacksburg flipping it back outside. Ellis driving in, and Dugat falls over. They're going to call out a charge or a block. It will be a block against Dugat. So A.J. Ellis headed to the line.
A.J. Ellis at the line.
Substitutions already for Landrum. Patrick Clark exits the game. Mason Raines in now. Raines and Clark have shown a pretty similar skill set so far this year. Raines a bit more apt to go for the three-pointers. And Ellis's first shot is good. Lead goes back out to 2 for Blacksburg. Make it a 3-point lead for the Wildcats. Washington hightailing it down the court, gets it over to Gentry. They've been trying to set Gentry up on the bank all game. It hasn't been there. Every time he's flipped it out to Washington. And now Gentry might have had it there, but Raines had too much air on that pass. Back to Raines, and Raines looking to throw now. Gentry, they still can't get him open. A.J. Ellis has been all over it. Now Franklin Davis from the paint, got it! Ellis has been playing right on that rectangle. Every time they've thrown it over to Gentry, he's taken a few steps and bounced back out. And because of that height advantage he's got, it's not even necessarily that he's fast, it's just because he's so tall he can take 2 or 3 steps and be halfway across the court. But Mason Raines here giving the Cardinals the lead. 7-6 in favor of Landrum. And this one taken away by Isaiah Washington. Headed straight for the goal, wants to do it himself, and a 3-point play coming up, or an attempt at one coming up for Isaiah Washington of Landrum. Just like that, it's a 3-point lead for the Cardinals. And that one is good. Landrum cracks 10, the first team to crack double digits in this game. Landrum up by 4 on quite a run so far. 4 unanswered for the Cardinals. And they've taken their first lead of the game. And now this is Ramsey. Man, that one was off the mark initially, but it rotated in. It was spinning a little bit in the air, and that was enough. So Blacksburg right back in it. Closing in on the halfway point of the first period. Washington gets it over to Spencer Harmon. And Harmon able to sink that one for Landrum. And Blacksburg sends it out of bounds. And Ethan Dugat has re-entered the game for Landrum. Dugat's all the way on the other side of the court. Harmon checked that one into Washington. Washington kind of eyeing up that defense. Gentry out of the game. They're putting Franklin Davis where he was. Now Davis is motioning back across. They get it to Davis. Davis flips it over to Raines. Raines for 3, just off the mark. Hits the back of the rim and bounces into the hands of Ellis. And Ellis lost his handle on it. There's a fight for it, and Ellis able to hang on. Going inside, now back outside, Tate. Tate sends it inside to Ramsey, going inside again with number 0, Ty Wilson, and Wilson off the mark. Rebounded by Isaiah Washington and Landrum. Davis going inside for the Cardinals. This one off and almost rebounded by Spencer Harmon. Instead, it's Ty Wilson. Wilson goes behind the back to get around Raines, goes right inside the paint and misses. Had 3 or 4 Cardinal defenders draped all over him. Ill-advised shot there. Davis flips it back to Washington, who wanted to go for 3. Instead, drives inside, loses his handle on it. They're going to call it Blacksburg ball. He wants a foul, but isn't going to get it. 2:42 to play in an exciting first period. This one has been, I gotta say, as good of a defensive scheme as full court press is, because of the turnovers it can force, it makes for a rough and tumble game of basketball. This one has been a lot more fluent to watch. And going inside, nice passing there. That shot off the mark, though, brought back in by Landrum. And now headed down the court is Mason Raines. Raines trying to make some men miss, hesitates, goes up, gets it, and they're going to call that a foul against Landrum, so no points there. Colvin Jackson in the game now for the Cardinals. And Landrum's coaching staff cannot believe it. Marco Gonzalez in as well. Wilson sends it over to Ellis. Ellis looking around, trying to split some defenders, going inside, wants to do it himself and gets fouled. Or no, they're going to call that against Blacksburg, so Landrum ball. Marco Gonzalez to check in. We'll get it to Mason Raines. Raines to Gonzalez, over to Jackson. Now back to Jackson. And just passing around trying to get somebody open for a 3 here. They might have Raines. He thought about it for sure. Now going inside, Cooper Gentry. And I think that one might have gotten tipped. And Marco Gonzalez with the rebound, can't get it in. Ty Wilson heading down the court now for Blacksburg. 1:45 to go in the first. Ellis for the long 3. This one off. Whistles blow as it leaves his hands. And the Blacksburg bench happy about it. Looks like we got a shooting foul against, Spencer Harmon's getting yelled at. So shooting foul goes against Landrum. A.J. Ellis with a few more foul shots. Had 2 earlier. This shot off the mark. I've actually had Landrum at 13. That is my mistake. I counted one of their 2-pointers as a 3. The official score is 12-9. 12-9 Landrum. And third shot coming up for Ellis. He was fouled on a 3-point attempt. And he goes 1 for 3, able to notch some points. Both teams over double digits now. Mason Raines gets it to Gonzalez. Over to Jackson. Now Jackson wants out to Gonzalez, all the way to Gentry. Gentry still hasn't had time to set up for a 3. And now Raines for the long 3. Almost had that one. But instead it goes off the front of the rim, just a little off the mark. And Ellis sends out of bounds, so right back to Landrum. Raines checks it in to Gonzalez, back to Raines, over to Jackson, inside Gentry, looking for his first points of the game, got it! And now Blacksburg wanted to work from the inside. That shot is blocked and taken away by Landrum. Mason Raines with it now, going inside to Gentry, setting up Jackson for 3. That shot off the mark, rebounded by Harmon. We got fouls. They're going to call it Blacksburg ball. 44.8 seconds left to go in the first, and we got a 5-man, or not a 5-man sub, but a big one for Landrum. 4 players re-entering the game now. There's going to be Adrian Cortez, Spencer Harmon, Marco Gonzalez, Patrick Clark, and Jake Ballou. Looks like Blacksburg made a handful of 4 substitutions as well. And that shot blocked. Ty Wilson, the only starter in the game for either team, I believe, or Patrick Clark started the game for Landrum. 24 seconds to play. Blue, I think Landrum might be wanting to run some clock here. Up by 4. Cortez back to Blue. And that shot, taken back in by Cortez, and Cortez sends it out of bounds. Landrum did what they accomplished there. They did burn some clock, just weren't able to come up with any points. Blacksburg will get it back with 7.3 seconds to go in the first. Kanye Tate checking it in, gets it over to Ethan Ramsey. Ramsey in some trouble, gets out of it, and that is going to be the end of the period. Landrum did take it away, but nobody had time to hop back on top of it. So at the end of the first period, we've got an exciting game, 14-10, Landrum leading. Back in a few moments. Start of the second period. It was a very entertaining first 8 minutes. We'll see if the next 8 can hold up. Starters back in the game for Landrum. Isaiah Washington, first we've seen of him in a little while. Should be fresh after a little breather on the sideline. And now Washington sets up for 3. Right on cue, Isaiah Washington. What a shot. It's a 7-point lead for Landrum. And now Blacksburg's flinging it down the court. 3-point shot of their own is off the mark. There's a tussle for it. It's brought back in by Ty Wilson. Wilson gets it over to Ellis, but we got whistles. And they're going to call Wilson for traveling. Are they? Are they? We've got traveling, but they haven't said who it's against. I mean, Blacksburg was the only one that even had the ball. Not sure what the delay was about there, but Landrum does get it back. 7:29 to play in the first half. Washington flips it to Gentry. Back to Washington. Over to Raines. Now Raines tried to set up for 3, instead gets it to Washington. Now Raines going to go for 3, and this one overshot and brought back in by Blacksburg. Ty Wilson driving inside, goes right past Cooper Gentry, but Gentry got in his face enough to be able to force the bad shot there. Rebounded by Washington. Raines going to try to do it again, this time from inside the paint. Got it. 9-point lead for the Cardinals. Still a 3-possession game. 6:50 to play in the second period. And now that one taken away by Franklin Davis, the freshman. Davis heading down the court, tries to make a cut, and that one off the mark. Brought back in by A.J. Ellis of Blacksburg. Ellis driving, runs right into Washington, no whistles, like I'm letting him play. And that one rebounded by Dugat. And now Raines going to have another 3-point attempt, and this one off as well, but rebounded by Davis. Davis looking, gets it to Washington. Now Washington for 3, and Washington sinks it. Landrum on a roll, and we got a timeout called by Blacksburg. Man, what a turn of events for Landrum. They are pouring it on. Blacksburg really didn't have any choice but to take a timeout there. They got to get their feet back under them. Still a 4-possession game, but 12 points, especially with a team that is struggling from behind the line. They've got to get something going here. Back in a moment. All right, so I didn't really see either side drawing up any plays, mostly just a motivational timeout, everybody trying to get their feet back under them. And looks like we got another one of those big substitutions for Landrum now. 5 new players in the game. Oh, and that one goes off the back of the backboard, brought in by Landrum. It's going to be a turnover by the Wildcats. And now looking around, Jake Ballou thought about going for 3, drives inside and tried to go under a man. We got whistles well before the shot. We'll see how they rule this one. It looks like it's going to be a shooting foul against Blacksburg, so Jake Ballou headed to the line for Landrum. And Ethan Ramsey re-enters the game for the Wildcats. 6 minutes flat left to go, and that's not going to be a shooting foul against Ballou. And Patrick Clark going for the 3-pointer, can't reel it in, and almost took it away from Ellis. Ellis tried to split Clark and Ballou and fell over. They're going to call that a foul against, couldn't tell if they called that Clark or Ballou, but it's going to go with Blacksburg either way. And we got whistles from the other side of the court. I think the clock might have been off by a few seconds and the ref caught it. Yeah, they set it from 5:45 to 5:52. That's where it's at now. 5:52 to play in the first half. Oh, and Gonzalez with the takeaway. Ethan Ramsey able to scoop it back up, and Gonzalez takes it away twice in a row. It goes out of bounds and runs right into the podium. It'll be a Blacksburg ball, but certainly a defensive momentum builder. 2 straight takeaways from Marco Gonzalez. Oh, and they're going to rule this in favor of Landrum. Spencer Harmon and check it in. Gonzalez heading down the court. 5.5 minutes to play in the second period. Harmon goes up for the layup, can't connect. And it's brought back in by A.J. Ellis. He has had a busy day. He's really having to carry this Blacksburg team for the most part. They've made a ton of substitutions, but other than him and Ty Wilson, everybody else has kind of been subbing in and out. Ellis and Wilson, for the most part, have been in for pretty much the entire game, and Wilson able to sink that one. Back down to a 10-point lead. Landrum looking to do something about it. And they're flinging it across the court. Cortez, the intended man. Instead, it ends up in the arms of Ethan Ramsey. And back to Ramsey now. Ramsey driving, flipping, or looking to get rid of it. Sends it over to Kanye Tate to Ty Wilson. Wilson for the long 2, got it. 8-point lead for Landrum. 4 unanswered now for Blacksburg. 4:40 left to go in the second period. Ballou looking to make some men miss. Gets it to Harmon. Harmon for the long 2. Off the mark, but rebounded by Cortez. Cortez trying to escape, can't pull it off. Ty Wilson with the free lane to the goal, got it. Timeout called by Landrum. 6 unanswered by Blacksburg. Great response out of that timeout. We'll see if Landrum can get back on top of things. And now Gentry flipping it out to Rain. Starters back in the game for Landrum. And that one taken away. Franklin Davis had it, but it just got ripped right out of his hands. And Landrum wanted a foul. They're not going to get it. That shot from Ellis off the mark and rebounded by Ethan Dugat. Washington flips it out to Davis. Davis back to Washington. Sets up for the 3, and this one off the mark, but rebounded by Dugat. Hesitates, and this one off. Headed out of bounds, and that one looked like it went out to me. They're going to give it to Ellis, and Ellis goes up and gets the 2-pointer. Just like that, 8 unanswered for Blacksburg, down to a 4-point lead. Landrum's been up as much as 12. Wildcat defense really stepping up now. Gentry, man, what a shot. Moving one way, shoots it the other, and puts an end to Blacksburg's run. I mean, he was almost complete, had his back facing the basket when he let that one rip. That was something. And Ethan Ramsey trying to go for a fantastic shot of his own. Instead falls to the ground. Or scratch that. That wasn't Ramsey. That was number 21, Lee Martin. The whistles blow. I didn't see if they called out a foul against anyone, but it will be Landrum ball. 3:14 left to play in the second half, or in the second period. So it doesn't look like the bonus is really going to be a factor for either side. Clock is rolling. Washington taking his time. Gets it over to Gentry, over to Raines. Raines, you could tell Landrum's really been itching to go for the three so far. And now just a little pop pass inside to Davis, now to Dugat. Dugat almost stepped out of bounds, instead gets fouled. 2 shots coming up for Ethan Dugat. 2:53 to play in the second period, the first half. First shot off the mark, and Blacksburg ready to make some substitutions, and now they're bringing in Matt Davis. Lee Martin out of the game now for Blacksburg. Dugat, second shot is good. Back out to a 7-point lead for Landrum, up by 3 possessions. And man, Ty Wilson really hightailing it down the court. Gets it over to Davis, and Davis can't connect, but it's rebounded by Wilson. Wilson going inside, flips it over, and this shot no good. And man, it hit Davis in the face, and he was not prepared for it. He thought it was coming in lower, so Blacksburg will continue to hang on to this one. 2.5 minutes left to go in the second. Ramsey motioning some men around, gets it to Wilson. Back to Ramsey. Ramsey for 3. This one off the mark, and Landrum finally able to get it back. And Gentry with a clear line of the goal now takes a step back and gets it to Raines. Raines looking for Davis. Davis for the long 3, too short. And that one hit by a Woodruff defender, but they're going to rule it in favor of Landrum. Marco Gonzalez enters the game in relief of Franklin Davis. Mason Raines to check in. And right inside to Gentry. Gentry sinks that one. 9-point lead for the Cardinals. Ramsey in a trap block and sends it back across half court. And carrying called against Kanye Tate. And Cooper Gentry will send this one in from right in front of the Blacksburg bench. Or they sub out. Now it'll be Gonzalez checking into Raines. 1:45 to play in the first half. Landrum now starting to take their time. Gentry, yeah, they're thinking about going for 3, or at least doing a good job of faking it. I really do think they're trying to burn some clock. Or no, Dugat goes for the long 2 off the mark, rebounded by Ty Wilson. 90 seconds to play in the first half. Wilson takes a step back. Gets it to Samuel McSwain, back to Wilson. Wilson lost his handle on it, and it falls into the lap of Washington. Washington takes a step to the side, sends it up off the mark, rebounded by Blacksburg. And now Wilson all alone sinks the layup, no problem for Ty Wilson. And now Landrum's streak comes to an end. Mason Raines sends it inside to Gentry. Gentry gets called for traveling. 57.2 seconds to go in the half. Gonzalez tried to go for the steal there, couldn't get it. Now Tate taking it down the court, gets it to Ramsey. Ramsey sets up for 3, and this one off the mark, rebounded by McSwain, and then Davis rebounds it for Blacksburg. And this one headed back across half court, scramble for it. Washington comes up with it. Landrum ball gets it to Gonzalez, and Gonzalez able to sink it. 30 seconds to play in the first half. Ethan Ramsey trying to get a response score in before the buzzer. Inside to Matt Davis, lost it, and Washington falls out of bounds with possession of the ball. Refs trying to figure out who this one's going to go to. Looks like, by the reaction of the Landrum bench, they're going to rule it in favor of Blacksburg, and indeed they are. Ethan Ramsey to check in. Ramsey flips it to Wilson. Wilson to Ellis. And Ellis, that three-point shot is short. Rebounded by Gonzalez. 15 seconds to go. Got to split some defenders. Flips it over to Washington for three. Got it! Isaiah Washington with another huge three-point shot. Ty Wilson, 3 seconds. Just got to sling it up there. And it goes in at the buzzer. Man, what a half of basketball. Don't go anywhere, folks. This has been a good one. 10 minutes on the clock for halftime. Landrum up by 10, 32-22, with both teams firing on all cylinders, offensively and defensively. This has been a lot of fun. We'll see you at the start of the third period. All right, so here we go at the start of the third period. One kind of snuck up on me too. Blacksburg going to get the ball to start things out. Flipping it inside to Ty Wilson. Wilson back out to Ellis. Ellis again off the mark. Even in warm-ups just a few moments ago, Blacksburg was really struggling from behind the line. And those struggles continuing into the third period. Dugat just tries to split two defenders himself. That might be a job better suited for Mason Rains. But Dugat does get fouled, it looks like. 7:38 to play in the third period. 22 seconds come off the clock in that initial exchange. And Dugat with 2 shots coming up, looking to notch the first points of the second half. And he does. And this shot is good as well. 34-22 in favor of Landrum. Spencer Harmon has re-entered the game for Landrum. Dugat exits after sinking those 2 foul shots. Kanye Tate looking for an open man, gets it to Wilson. And they go inside, that's number 15, and 15 sinks it. That's Landon Hayes. Or Landon Hames, excuse me. Back down to a 10-point lead. Washington for 3, wow! The net barely even moved. What a shot from Washington. Lead at 13, this one loose, and I'm going to call carrying against Kanye Tate. That's the second time they've gotten him for that. And I think we might have had a timeout called. It's going to be Landrum ball either way. And no timeout, Franklin Davis will check this one in. Ethan Dugat back in the game. That might have been what it was for. Washington gets it to Gentry. Gentry to Patrick Clark. Back to Gentry. Going inside to Dugat, and they set up Clark for 3. Great play! Excellent play and excellent execution there by Landrum. 90 seconds into the third period, up by 16. Doing a good job stretching this lead, and they'll have a chance to tack on more. That one taken away by Washington. Washington flips it out to Clark, who does a good job to stay in bounds. Now driving inside, Davis from under the rim and gets it. And they're going to call that a blocking foul against Blacksburg, at least judging by the reaction of the Landrum bench there. Yep. So second foul of the second half for the Wildcats. Davis checks it into Washington. Washington to Clark, back to Washington. Inside to Davis. He's trying to set up Clark again. They won't be fooled twice. Washington for 3. Wow! Landrum pouring it on, and there's the timeout from Blacksburg. And man, they're going to need this one. They got to get something going. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen this many successful three-point shots in a row. Landrum, whatever they drew up in the locker room, is working to perfection so far. 5:53 to play in the third. Landrum up by 21. And now Wilson trying to split some defenders and sends it out of bounds. Looks like Gentry and Davis with the pressure there. Dugat to check it in. If Landrum sinks a 3 on this possession, they will have doubled Blacksburg's scoring output. Now inside to Davis. No three-point attempts here, but Davis gets it for 2. 47-24. And man, Blacksburg still slinging it across the court. That's Sam McSwain able to sink that two-pointer. So kind of back to square one, 21-point lead for Landrum. And Washington with a nice step back. Oh, just off the rim. And Davis now for two. Davis got it. 49-26. And slinging it down the court. This is Wilson going up off the mark, or scratch that. That's McSwain. And McSwain gets his second attempt. 49-28 now. Gentry sends it to Washington. Washington tries to make some men miss. Back to Gentry. Thought about going for three. Instead goes inside for Davis. And Davis gets fouled. So in one way or another, Franklin Davis from inside the paint has been foolproof throughout the third period. 4:24 to play before the start of the fourth. Davis from the line to get Landrum over 50. This one is good. Landrum up by 22. And shot number two rolls off. Lead stays at 22. Rebounded by A.J. Ellis. 4:15 to play in the third. Wilson sends it inside the, check that, that's not Ramsey, that is, and now this is Ramsey taking it back from Washington after the steal. A.J. Ellis looking for an opening, sending it inside. That's Lee Martin, and Martin shot off the mark. Rebounded by Davis. Now Washington under 4 to play now in the third. Going inside, this is Spencer Harmon, and Harmon gets the 2-pointer. 52-28, Landrum up by 24 now. Inside, Ty Wilson just making a beeline for the basket, 6 that, Blacksburg over 30. And Davis responds immediately. And we got timeout called by Blacksburg again. 3:25 to play in the third. Back in a moment.
30-second round. Comment coach. Start the clock, please. Thank you.
So here we go again. Blacksburg down 24. They've really gone stride for stride with Landrum through the past 90 seconds or so. Just haven't been able to pull away. Both offenses really clicking. Ellis driving inside, flips it back out. Nice setup there, and this one off the mark. It's up and rebounded by Ellis. 3 minutes to play in the third now. Ellis, I don't know how he didn't get called for carrying, but he sinks the 2-pointer. And Raines going right for the goal, and that one, whistles sounded before he shot that one, and there's a signal from the official. Raines got fouled. 2 shots coming up for the Cardinals. If he makes both of these, the lead will go back out to 24. First shot is perfect. And this one off the mark, so, and yeah, Blacksburg is going to get it back, so I doubt that it was intentional, but technically a good foul there by the Wildcats. Landrum only comes away with 1 point on that possession. Ty Wilson checks it into Ramsey. And now in a tussle, it's going to be a jump ball, and the possession arrow was in favor of Landrum. Jamarius Tuft got caught up there, and now Gonzalez checked this one in. Raines trying to shake a defender, gets it over to Harmon. Harmon back to Raines for three, and Mason Raines off the mark, rebounded by Franklin Davis. Now Raines getting it inside, ill-advised pass, and it's taken away by Tuft. Ethan Ramsey making his way down the court. Flips it out of bounds, intended for Wilson. Landrum ball. 2:15 to play in the third. Raines directing traffic. Now sends it over to number 5. That is Austin Harris. And now Davis for the long 2, off the mark. Rebounded by number 15, and then taken right away by Gonzalez. Landon Hames had it for a second. 1:48 to play in the third. Still looking around are the Wildcats. Ethan Ramsey kind of slowing things down now. Inside to Wilson. Wilson has that one taken right away. Austin Harris with it now. Takes a step back and sends it to Davis. To Gonzalez. Gonzalez spins around, goes for the underhand shot! What a play by Marco Gonzalez! 75 seconds to play in the third. Blacksburg got to respond here, down 25. And Hames for 3, rolls out of the rim, rebounded by Harmon. Oh, and that, I don't know how they didn't call that a foul. I guess Hames got his hands up in time. And Raines sends it to no one in particular. I think it was intended for Davis. More substitutions. Grayson Foster and Colvin Jackson in the game now. Oh, man. Ramsey threw that right to Raines. Guess it was a strategic move, maybe trying to get Raines off his back for a little bit. And I guess it worked. Landrum backing off defensively. They're going to check this one into Hames. And Gonzalez takes it away. They're going to call out a jump ball, I think. Whistles do blow. I don't know if they're going to say it's a foul or not. And they're going to say foul against Blacksburg. So Landrum's got it. Harmon checks it into Raines. Raines trying to shake his man. Now cuts it over, gets it over to Colvin Jackson, and Jackson has that pass taken away. Ethan Ramsey headed for the basket, off the mark, rebounded by McSwain. McSwain flips it out to Hames for the long 2, off the mark. Rebounded by Blacksburg again. They have really won the rebound battle so far. Don't have the points to show for it, though. And we've got whistles. There was a foul called against Landrum. 2 shots coming up for Jason Berg. This one is good. First points in a while for Blacksburg. Back to a 24-point lead. It's kind of been in and out of that spot for most of the third period. 24.6 seconds left to play in the third now. And the second shot off the mark. There's a scramble for it, brought in by Gonzalez. Gonzalez flips it to Raines. Raines off the mark, and Harmon tried to tip it in, couldn't pull it off, but again, rebounded by Grayson Foster. Foster had to do everything he could just to avoid going out of bounds, and half-court violation called. It'll be Blacksburg ball. Tough to check it in. Gets it over to Ramsey. And Colvin Jackson tried to steal it away and breaks it up. Gonzalez has the ball now for the high layup off the mark and still going for it. Raines couldn't bring it down, but no harm, no foul. That's the end of the third period. Landrum extends their lead. They were up by 10 at the half. They are up by 24 now. And actually, we've got a foul. I don't know if they're going to say that's at the start of the fourth or if they're going to tack it on now. And it looks like they don't really do anything with it. Might not have been a shooting foul anyway. So at the start of the fourth period, Landrum up 24, extending the lead by 14 there. 57-33 when we come back. So the start of the fourth, Blacksburg checking this one in. Ethan Ramsey taking it slow for the time being. Gonna flip it over to Hames. Hames back to Ramsey. And I can tell they're trying to set up a three-point shot here, not getting the windows they want though. Landrum zone's holding up, for the time being at least. Hames taking a step back, trying to get a man open. Hasn't found one yet. Ramsey still on the hunt. Motioning some men around. Sends it over to Hames again. Hames trying to shake Clark. Can't do it. Gets it to Ramsey. And Ramsey tries to split two defenders. Goes one-on-one with Dugat and loses. It's going to be Landrum ball. 45 seconds come off the clock in that opening exchange. No points to show for it on Blacksburg's end. Isaiah Washington and the starters back in the game for Landrum now. Washington driving, taking it. I don't know if he's setting up for three or not. Gets it over to Dugat, and Dugat looking, now goes for three, and that one pretty close, but off the mark, rebounded by Ethan Ramsey. Ramsey flips it to Hames, now Hames for three, and that one is off, rebounded by Sam McSwain, and McSwain got fouled on the rebound. 2 shots coming up. Got 34 on the board for Blacksburg. McSwain's shot is perfect. And this one is good as well. 22-point game. 4 unanswered for Blacksburg. Washington driving, going right outside. They set Harmon up perfectly. Got it! Landrum hits 60 with 6.5 minutes to play in the game. Up by 25 now. Ramsey now for three. Ramsey off the mark, brought in by Washington. Going to sling it down the court for Patrick Clark. And Clark gets it to Davis. Davis wanted to go for three, now for the long two. Short hops it, but he had whistles beforehand. And it'll be Blacksburg ball. And now Landrum with another substitution. This looks like this is the second set of players they use. They've kind of used 3. Marco Gonzalez, Jake Ballou, Grayson Foster, Colvin Jackson, and Daniel Cortez. The lineup for the Cardinals. 6 minutes to play in the fourth. McSwain to Ramsey. Ramsey fakes to Tuft. Now gets it to Hames. Hames looking. Can't find anything. Pass goes to Ramsey. Ramsey thought about driving in. Fakes to the outside. Gets it to McSwain to Tuft. Tuft for 3. Didn't really set up for that one. And gets his own shot back somehow. Man, what a shot from Jamarius Tuft. That That was impressive. Had 3 defenders draped all over it. Marco Gonzalez sends it back to the outside. Daniel Cortez from the free throw line off the mark, rebounded by Gonzalez. Now Jake Ballou for 3. This one off as well, rebounded by Blacksburg. Making some men miss, and gets it to Sam McSwain. McSwain tried to split some defenders, and it'll be Blacksburg ball. And Ramsey drives inside, sinks that one. 21-point lead now. 5 minutes to play in the fourth. Landrum just got to hang on at this point. And we got a foul called against number 4. So we'll stay with Landrum. And now a 5-man substitution from Blacksburg. Kanye Tate, Ty Wilson, Austin Ellis, Matt Davis, and number 11. That is going to be Alex Phillips in the game now for Blacksburg. Gonzalez sends it to Ballou. Ballou looking, gets it to Cortez. Cortez fakes to the inside, nobody buying it. Now Grayson Foster loses his handle on it, and it goes. Ellis almost dunks it, and he misses. A missed dunk from A.J. Ellis. And now Cortez lost it, gets it back. Landrum flipping it around. Colvin Jackson to Ballou. Ballou driving, makes a man miss, goes up off the mark, but rebounded by Cortez. And now Colvin Jackson for 3, sinks it! Under 4 to play in the game now. Landrum up by 24. And Ty Wilson almost lost it. Both teams still fighting for it. And now A.J. Ellis sets up for 3. The lefty off the mark and headed out of bounds. It'll be Landrum ball. 3:44 on the clock. Colvin Jackson to check in. Ballou takes a step to the side, gets it to Cortez. Cortez sends it in to Foster, and Wilson stared that one down the whole way. He stole it away, no problem, and then misses the layup. Partially blocked by Grayson Foster, it looked like. And now there's another tussle for it. Blacksburg gets it back. Phillips slips it to Ellis. Ellis for the long 2, got it. Three minutes to play in the game. Inside! That's Austin Harris with the points for Landrum there. Back out to a 24-point lead. Under 3 to play. Ellis under duress. Gets it to Tate. Over to Wilson. Wilson looking. Now going to flip it over to Phillips. Alex Phillips inside to Kanye Tate. Back to Wilson. Wanted to go for 3. Drives inside. Got it. Nice shot there from Ty Wilson. 2.5 minutes to play. Jake Ballou driving inside. Ill-advised shot. He threw that one off his back foot, really. And now Blacksburg sends it out of bounds. And that one went into the hallway. It'll be Cardinal ball when Grayson Foster gets back with it. And there he is. .2:15 to play. Colvin Jackson looking. Oh, has that one taken right out of his hand. There's a scuffle for it. It's brought back in. Number 4 with a clear lane to the goal and beats out Daniel Cortez there at the end. Jason Bird with some more points for the Wildcats. And that shot off the mark. Rebounded by Jake Ballou. Back to Ballou. Inside to Harris. Harris for 2. Off the mark, rebounded by A.J. Ellis. 1:40 to play. Landrum up by 20. And almost took that one away, still loose, and Landrum had it for a second. Jay-Sean Bird brought it back in. And now we got whistles. Not sure what that was about. And I think we got a foul against Landrum. Bird checks it in. Now back to Wilson. Wilson for three. Got it. 65-48. Landrum up by 18. Or 17, pardon me. Blacksburg might be too little too late. Landrum is running that clock, but the Wildcats slowly cutting into this lead, but again, under a minute now. And now Foster for three, this one off. And rebounded by Jake Ballou, so that allows Landrum to crunch more time if they so choose. Foster for two, this one off as well. Rebounded by Cortez inside the Foster, and Foster does what he can to take it away, and they're going to call it Landrum ball. 45 seconds on the clock. Landrum with a chance to run it out. Ballou driving inside, gets fouled and it rolls in! Jake Ballou with the three-point play attempt coming up. And that shot is off, rebounded by Harris, back inside to Ballou. Ballou has that shot blocked. What a play by Ty Wilson. 30 seconds left. Wilson driving and has it stripped away by Jackson. They're going to call it Landrum ball. Clock was stopped at 29.8. Jake Ballou to check it into Cortez. Unless Landrum is inclined to try and grab some more points, which it looks like they are. Could have ran that one out. Still going to keep on going. Jake Ballou off the mark. Sent it off the underside of the rim. We got a foul called against Blacksburg. So Ballou headed back to the line. 14.3 seconds on the clock. These could be the last points of the game. This one is good. Landrum back up by 20. This to make it 21. Got it. And Bird drives inside. Errant pass retrieved by Harris. Now gets it to Foster. Foster slings it down the court and turns it over. But that will be the end of the game. No buzzer beater for Blacksburg today. And that is your final. Landrum wins it. I mistyped there at the end. Final score 69-48. Landrum wins it by 21. Let me pull up the schedule here. I know we don't have another event this week.
Once again, we'd like to say thank you for continuing.
The next event we are set to stream is going to be January 11th. That is going to be JV basketball at Chapman High School. JV basketball at Chapman High School, our next event. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Landrum High School Athletics channel and the Chapman High School Athletics channel. That way you will be personally notified every time we set up a stream and every time we go live to start a new event. Again, next event is going to be January 11th, JV basketball at Chapman. Then on January 12th, we've got varsity basketball at Landrum. Next event for Landrum, January 12th, varsity basketball at Landrum. Hope to see you then. Until then, I'm Luke Ruff signing off for Spartanburg School District 1. Enjoy your snow day tomorrow.